Anna Politkovskaya's desk is a shrine to her life and work. The 48-year-old journalist was one of the few critical voices in post-Soviet Russia. Her colleagues at Novaya Gazeta have kept it this way since her murder 5 years ago. They say they're still waiting for the truth.
We are not executioners or revenge takers. We just want a fair investigation and retribution for those who masterminded this awful crime.
When Politkovskaya was shot dead in 2006, Vladimir Putin, then president, said her journalism was insignificant and her murder was designed to spread anti-Russian sentiment. The likely return of Putin to the presidency next year has left the Politkovskaya family doubtful justice will ever be done.
I think that as we haven't had any political will so far, we won't have it in the future either. The same clan has stayed in power, the same political tandem and people. Nothing will change.
Politkovskaya was among dozens of Russian journalists killed in the last 20 years. A large number of cases remain unsolved. Many more journalists are harassed, beaten and jailed for uncovering crime and corruption, sometimes at the highest levels. But newspapers like Novaya Gazeta find it impossible to compete with the power and reach of the nation's 3 state-controlled television channels. Despite the spread of the internet, television is still the main source of news across this vast country. NTV was once privately owned and attracted the best journalists, but it was forcibly taken over in 2001 after running reports critical of Vladimir Putin. It's now owned by state energy company Gazprom and is devoting major airtime to Kremlin policy. The channel's editor-in-chief thinks the political opposition are irrelevant.
They are not interesting to anyone. They have no influence in society. They have nothing. Why should we use our airtime, which costs huge amounts of money, for marginal groups? Nobody's interested in them. Nobody wants to see that.
The reports and investigations in Novaya Gazeta rarely ever feature on state media. They're too much at odds with what the Kremlin wants Russians to hear. But there are stories journalists like Politkovskaya struggle to report. Stories fewer journalists in Russia are daring to tell. Niv Balka, Al Jazeera, Moscow.